Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is Palm Beach County Fire Rescue's 24th anniversary 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony here at the Lake Worth campus of Palm Beach State College. This is the lovely Duncan Theater, and we thank them so much for the use of their facilities. September 11th is the day that changed America forever. The day that changed the fire service, law enforcement, and the military forever. We gather to honor the victims and the heroes of 9/11, the sacrifices made, and the families broken over this horrific attack. We also, though, come together in solidarity. This is a time for all emergency responders, all Americans, to stand tall, to stand proud, and to stand together as the United States of America. For our opening ceremony this morning, please welcome me in welcoming our fire rescue dispatcher. Communicator Stacy 3 will be singing the national anthem for us, and our fire department chaplain, Charbel Khadij, will be giving the invocation. So, without further ado, please stand for the presentation of colors by the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Honor Guard and pipes and drums.
Fire Rescue Honor Guard and all uniform personnel, on 10, cool, carry colors. Pipe nature, by all command.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Colors. Prepare post. Post. Ready. Cut. Ready. Peace. Lightning, by your command.
Arrête, Venture Boy. On the right. Quick. Up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please bow our heads in prayer? Gracious and eternal God, we gather today in reverence and remembrance on this solemn day that changed our nation and our world. On September 11th, we witnessed tragedy, but also the strength of the human spirit. We remember today the innocent lives lost, the heroes who ran toward danger, and the families whose hearts still carry the weight of grief. We ask your blessing upon this gathering today. Grant us the courage to honor the past with honesty, the compassion to walk beside those who mourn, and the resolve to work for a future of peace and unity. God, may the memory of that day inspire us to choose love over hate, service over selfishness, and hope over despair. Lord, let the sacrifices of so many never be forgotten, but instead guide us to live with gratitude, resilience, and faith. Lord, bless our nation, and today bless all of those who stand for justice, freedom, and peace. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. We have some very special guests tonight that I'd like to recognize. We have some members from FDNY here tonight, Fire Department from New York City. Obviously, the Fire Department from New York City, please stand if you're here this evening. Let's give them a round of applause. FDNY lost 343 firefighters. That's signified here on the helmet shields that you see in front of you. 343. It's the bunker gear here on the stage. New York Police Department and the Port Authority Police Department lost 71 law enforcement officers. We also here tonight, of course, honor all the families that lost a loved one or a friend on 911, or in the aftermath, all of the responders that were exposed to toxic air environments at 9/11. All members as well, active or retired, of the United States Armed Force, we salute you for your service. Please stand as well. You are the reason that we are a free nation, and we will never take that for granted. I'd like to recognize our dignitaries that are attending with us this morning as well. From the Florida House of Representatives, we have Deborah Tendrich. Let's turn the lights back up a bit. Can we turn the lights back up? There we go. Thank you for joining us. From the Board of County Commissioners, we have Mayor Maria Marino, Vice Mayor Sarah Baxter, Commissioner Joel Flores, Commissioner Maria Sachs, and Commissioner Bobby Powell. From our county administration, of course, our county administrator, Joseph Abruzzo, Chief Deputy County Administrator, Todd Bunlaran, our Deputy County Administrator, Tomer Nadler, another Deputy County Administrator, Tammy Fields, Deputy County Administrator, Tracy Ellison, Deputy County Administrator, Patrick Rudder, from the Clerk of the Circuit Court and Comptroller, we also have Mike Caruso. Welcome. And of course, our professional firefighters and paramedics of Palm Beach County. We have President Jeff Newsom, Vice President Craig Gerlach, Vice President Dave Toohey, Vice President Brian Prather, and Vice President Mike. Sorry. Yes, Mike O'Brien. I stand apologize. We also have, we couldn't do any of this without our community, right? We have some of our wonderful community members, our community advocates here tonight, and I can see them slightly. We've got COBRA, Coalition of Boynton West Residential Association. I believe we have President Barbara Roth and her spouse here. Vice President Debbie Murphy. And Director Erwin Cohen and his spouse as well. And we couldn't make it all happen without our Fire Rescue Advisory Board here. We have Imran Siddiqui and Bob Unger. All right, to welcome you tonight to Palm Beach County on behalf of our 1.5 million residents, our 2,000 square miles, and of course our thousands of first responders serving here in Palm Beach County in fire and law enforcement and others. I'd like to invite our Palm Beach County Mayor, Maria Marino, to the podium for her welcome remarks.
Thank you, Tara. Doesn't she do a wonderful job at this, keeping all of us calm? I do appreciate that. So good morning. And I just want to begin by saying thank you to all of you for being here today. Thank you to the Board of County Commissioners that are here and our staff. I know that there's a lot of you out there, and wow, these lights are bright. Your presence here reflects the shared commitment we all hold for service, unity, and remembrance. And I know exactly where I was the day that this happened, the time that this happened, what I was doing. I was about 5 minutes away from here, actually. And I know you all remember that too. That moment is going to be seared in your memories for your lifetime. Sadly, for some of you, it will be there for a lifetime. Happily, for some, it's never been an experience you've had to experience. But we need to remember that day. We need to remember what we felt that day. We need to remember the nearly 3,000 that perished that day. We need to remember the local heroes that walk amongst us. I was talking to Frank Hitzero, who's the town manager up in Jupiter last night, and he was in the Pentagon building when this happened. And it wasn't just New York. It was Washington. It was Pennsylvania. It was the whole world. It was 90 countries that were affected that day. 90 different nationalities lost people that day. Families cut short, dreams cut short, lives cut short. It is a profound loss that we all deal with, and what we need to remember about that loss is that it needs to bring us together as a nation. Something that's lacking right now, and I'm not going to go into politics, but we need to remember the ordinary citizens that showed extraordinary courage that day, the strangers who helped strangers, the first responders, and thank you all again from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do. Our first responders, and it's been said before, but it needs to be said over and over again. You're the ones that are running into danger when the rest of us are running out. And it is something that takes a special person in order to do that, and we do thank you for that. It's the American spirit. It's the spirit of courage, of sacrifice, of an unbreakable bond that is always tested, on that day especially. More than 2 decades have passed. And for our youth, as I said, gratefully they didn't have to witness that day. For the rest of us, yes, it will be memorialized in how we think, how we act, what we do. How do we take care of our fellow friends? How do we take care of the neighbors that are moving in? How do we take care of those that we don't know? How do we take care of the strangers? Something that we need as a community and as a nation to remember we have to act in unity. It reshaped our country. It changed our security, our vigilance, and our awareness of threats that are even ever present today. But it reminded us of who we are. It reminded us of the bond that we need to have together, to not have fear, to have resolve, to have compassion, and most of all, to have unity. We owe a special thanks and a debt of gratitude that to those that served on 9/11 and have continued to serve since that day. Soldiers, first responders, citizens, everyone worked together to try to bring peace and harmony and unity to our nation. Many of you returned home with scars that we don't even know about, visible and invisible. Our duty is to stand with you and make sure going forward we do present a united front. As we reflect today, let us commit to what defines us: courage in the face of fear, compassion in the face of loss, unity, especially today, unity in the face of division. Because of the American spirit, steadfast, courageous, and unwavering, it has led us through the greatest challenges, and it will continue to lead us as a nation that is not divided, but is united. And with that, I want to say thank you. And I'd like to bring up Vice Mayor Baxter, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. It has been my honor and privilege with my fellow county commissioners and mayor to declare September 11th, 2025 as a National Day of Service and Remembrance. So we've done a proclamation at the county level that, if you'll bear with me and I can make it through, I would like to read to you. Whereas on September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 innocent lives were lost in terrorist attacks that forever changed our nation. Whereas we honor the courage of first responders, survivors, and the unity shown by Americans in the aftermath of that tragic day. Whereas Congress established September 11 as a National Day of Service and Remembrance to honor victims and inspire acts of kindness and volunteerism. And whereas on this day, Americans are encouraged to serve their communities, fostering hope, healing, and resilience through acts of compassion. Whereas the county residents are called to remember the fallen, honor our heroes, and strengthen our community through service. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commission of Palm Beach County, Florida, that we do hereby recognize September 11, 2025 as a National Day of Service and Remembrance in Palm Beach County. That has been one of the most heartfelt things that I've done as a proclamation, remembering heroes who went into burning buildings to save other people's families and putting their own families at risk. I said this the other day, and I will say it again. There isn't anything I can think of that's more heroic than that. Nobody actually knows how they will respond in a moment of tragedy, in a moment of emergency, until it happens. And so I just want to thank every single person every first responder and all the supportive services who made it possible to bring home more families than ever expected and sacrifice their own. I have the honor and privilege of having two of the people that were on the ground that day within my district. And that was Thomas Rossi, who was the fire marshal that day, who had the terrible job of identifying bodies of fire rescue service members. And so if everyone would please join me in giving him a round of applause, he is here today. I also have Robert Unger, who is a first responder, who also was on the ground that day helping coordinate things and helping bring families home. So if you would please, let's also give him a round of applause. Because do we have a minute to bring them up here and present them the proclamation? If you do not feel comfortable coming up, I will not put you on the spot, but we do have a proclamation made, and I would love to personally give it to Mr. Thomas Rossi and Robert Unger today. If you could please join us up here. I know I wasn't able to give this to you the other day, but I wanted to give it. And yours also. Have your own. Thank you, guys. Down there, yeah, down there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank And for those of you who know me, they do know I don't like to be up here long, so that is it. Do you want me to introduce the next speaker? Sure, go ahead. So what we have up next on our county commission, we have our very own service member who served in our forces, who's also on our commission.
If Commissioner Joel Flores could please come up. Thank you.
Let us begin at the beginning. Let us go back to September 11, 2001, for the sequence of events that started just before 9 a.m. on that fateful September morning. I think we can all recall where we were and our first thoughts. I would like to share that morning for me. I was a sophomore in college. I wanted to be an architect. So I was in architecture school. That morning I was driving to my internship in Boston. It was a regular morning, beautiful skies. I usually listen to the radio, and all of a sudden they stopped the music halfway through. I thought it was kind of strange at that time. And they said a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. They stopped, they continued playing the music. In my head, I kept thinking, how in the world does a plane crash into a building? A few minutes later, they stopped the music one more time, and they said, a second plane has crashed into another building. At that moment, I knew we were under attack. There was no way that's simple coincidence. I remember I got to the office and everybody was on edge, trying to get information, trying to listen to the radio. I remember that morning the architect came out of his office and says, go buy me a TV. We need to know exactly what's happening. That whole day, I don't think we worked. I think that whole day we were just trying to find out what was going to happen next. For me, something was born. That day, by the end of that night, I made a personal decision that I would join the military to protect this great nation of ours. I realized that if we were that vulnerable and we could be attacked at home, our families would be at risk. That day led me down a path of servitude, of caring for my fellow family members, neighbors, friends, and people that I don't know, but that are Americans. To me, the pictures that I recall watching on the TV were people running in to these buildings to help others. Think about that. Imagine about the courage that it takes to go into a building to save others. I know we live in today's times where we have some divisions happening, but on that day, September 11th of 2001, I couldn't have been a prouder American because I saw people running into a building to help others. And that is the American values. And that's what I stand up tall for. This beautiful flag that symbolizes freedom. That day, America was under attack. It was on our soil. Now let's take a moment to listen to the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue 911 dispatch outline the minutes that would follow this day 24 years ago, and pause to remember all those we lost.
Attention all stations and all personnel. At this time, 21 years ago, the North Tower of the World Trade Center was struck by an airplane. An American Airlines aircraft crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City, instantly killing hundreds of people and trapping many more. This was the first in a devastating chain of events that all Americans will never forget. Then, 17 minutes later, a second plane crashes into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:37 hours, the third plane crashes into the western side of the Pentagon military headquarters, sparking a fire. After burning for nearly an hour, at 9:59 hours, the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses in 10 seconds. At 10:03 hours, Flight 93 crashes near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. It had been heading towards Washington, D.C. At 10:28 hours, the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. Every year on this day, we remember the 3,000 lives lost. We remember our first responders who went running in while others were running out, dying in the line of duty. 343 firefighters and 72 law enforcement officers. The events that transpired have forever changed our lives and have redefined how first responders operate. All personnel are now asked to observe a moment of silence in honor of the sacrifices made.
We remember the families and friends who lost someone they loved 24 years ago today. And we thank those who are here today and honor them and all Americans. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. That was beautiful. We also have tonight a very talented local musician who heard about our 9/11 ceremonies here with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue and decided to write a song specific to all the first responders who sacrificed so much that day. We'd like to welcome vocalist Jerry Montañez, guitarist Roger Roque, and pianist Winston Paul. You can follow along with the songs on your program. The lyrics are on the inside.
Sometimes it's hard to see the light, to find the strength and will to fight. When heroes fall, it feels so dark, but in that pain still lies the spark. When the darkest memories flood our minds and our thoughts get flooded with fear, think of all the ones who stayed behind for a chance that we could be here. When someone pays the ultimate sacrifice, giving more than just thoughts and prayers, let all glory, stars and stripes fly high, show the world it'll always be there. To carry on, in spite of the pain, we'll move along.
All right, for our keynote speech tonight, very special guest, we'd like to invite up our new Palm Beach County Administrator, Joseph Abruzzo. Now, Administrator Abruzzo proudly served in the United States Coast Guard Reserves as a port security specialist, earning numerous awards, medals, and outstanding performance citations. He remains a strong advocate for veterans, first responders, and of course, public safety. Abruzzo also served as in Florida Senate and the Florida House of Representatives, and he's telling me to cut it out. All right, come on over. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. On this day of solemn remembrance, we gather as Palm Beach County residents, as Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, as Floridians, and above all, as Americans bound together by memory, by gratitude, and by duty. We come together simply to look back on the events of September 11th, 2001, but to honor the lives lost, the heroes who rose above the smoke and dust, and the enduring promise that we made as a nation to never forget. 24 years ago today, our world changed in an instant. The clear September skies over New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania were pierced in an act of terror meant to break us. But what the world saw instead was courage. Firefighters climbing stairwells with no end. Police officers running toward the danger. Ordinary Americans, office workers, airline passengers, and neighbors becoming extraordinary heroes in their final moments. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost. Among them, as we mentioned, were 343 firefighters of the FDNY, brothers and sisters in service whose sacrifice is etched into our very souls of our country. Today, we carry their memories with us. Quite frankly, in an era when our politics often divides us, 9/11 reminded us of something greater. We saw our elected leaders come together in true solidarity. I remember like yesterday, them standing on the steps of the Capitol singing "God Bless America." We saw a president who entered office with one of the lowest approval ratings in history after one of the closest election in history rise to an approval rating of 90%, the highest ever recorded. Simply why? Because in that moment, we were not Democrats or Republicans. We were not red states or blue states. We were one nation, indivisible, standing together. I echo what Mayor Marino and Commissioner Flores mentioned. Growing up, I remember my mother, God rest her soul, telling me when I was very young where she was the day that President Kennedy was shot. You know, as a kid, I didn't fully understand what she meant, how a single moment can freeze time forever. I really didn't understand until September 11th. Because all of us, every single one of us, remember where we were that morning. We remember where we were standing, where we were sitting, who we were with, the sounds, the images, and the silence that followed. It's etched into our hearts forever. Even now, decades later, when we see the Twin Towers appear in backgrounds of old movies and TV programs filmed before 2001, it still burns. As much as I respect the magnificent new structure that now rises above Manhattan, every time I fly into New York City and see the skyline without the Twin Towers, it still burns. It reminds us of what was taken from us, but it also reminds us of what can never be taken from us, our American resolve and spirit. In the hours and days that followed, we saw something terrorists could never destroy, the strength of the American people. We saw a nation not divided but united. Strangers lined up to give blood, communities draping flags over porches. First responders worked tirelessly in smoke and rubble, proving that while our buildings can fall, our resolve would not. That strength continues today in the daily lives of Palm Beach County residents. in the selfless service of Palm Beach County Fire first responders, in the quiet sacrifice of every firefighter, paramedic, and law enforcement personnel who answer the call at 2 a.m., and in the commitment of every family who supports them. It continues in every citizen who chooses service over self, and in every act of kindness that binds us all together. But I also want to share something with you today that speaks to another kind of heroism. Sometimes we don't realize the heroes who live amongst us right here in Palm Beach County. One of those heroes is here today. His name is Marty Martin. Marty served our nation for nearly 3 decades, including in the Army Special Forces and the CIA. He headed the hunt for Osama bin Laden under President Bush, leading operations at a time when our country was reeling, when the world seemed uncertain, and when failure simply was not an option. Now, Marty doesn't know that I have what I'm about to read. I came across it through a close mutual friend, and I know he may not be thrilled that I'm sharing it, but I believe you deserve to hear it, because it is one of the most extraordinary testaments to courage and sacrifice that I have ever read. Here's the letter. Marty, please tolerate these comments. I feel compelled to write you on this day. I know you feel uncomfortable accepting these thoughts directly and usually leave it to others to recount your adventures, but please. As I walked down Fifth Avenue this morning, amidst our flags and vets in uniform, my eyes were drawn to a large, beautiful, solitary flag away from all the others, wavering quietly in the wind. Among all the quiet heroes, memories of you flooded my mind. Being Greek, my emotions were overwhelming. And as I walked, observing all those precious New Yorkers and Americans celebrating their lives, your words to Bush and our team hit me, and I began to smile, but with tears streaming down my face as I walked. I suppose you woke today in the proximity of angels that most mortal men only see in movies, having taken charge of some local bar last night with your jokes, humor, as the infamous Party Marty. See, the boss still knows all. However, I want to talk about the other Marty that is not public and only known by a few among the living and the dead, while I can still remember. The man who walked with me into the Oval Office, looking like another DC suit, as you would say, but he had a slight limp and other injuries, having just left the mountains of Afghanistan and before America even knew we were there. The fear in the room was so tense, one could cut it with a knife. But with your Bayou English and using words like funky and jiggy jiggy, you owned it. More importantly, you looked at the most powerful man in the world and said, "Sir, we will suffer losses. They will suffer more. We will cry, bury our dead, but they will cry more. Not again, not here. This day may be forgotten, but the pain will be forever secretly carried by a few, so that our children can play, lovers can kiss, ladies can dance, musicians can sing, and seniors can walk their dogs, never knowing but enjoying their innocent lives without fear." As I recall, Condi and even Bush choked up. So, brother, from a grateful nation who will never know your pain and sacrifice, which somehow you have the capacity to absorb, which I will never understand, having seen so many others break in one way or another, please know on this day, we love you. America loves you. That Marty, AKA Party Marty, who was like that beautiful solitary flag wavering quietly in the wind in downtown Manhattan. Sincerely, your brother, George Tenet, former director of the CIA. Marty, this podium is forever yours. If you would come say a few words, I'd appreciate it. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I appreciate it.
When Joe asked me to attend today, I was just going to be happy to sit right there and honor you. I was content with that. That's all I want to do. Of course, this letter, I'd have been good to go until he read the letter. Just for the record, I still want to get rid of the Party Marty name. But it chases me in Del Rey now and again. I thank you for your service. And I thank you for your sacrifice. Every time you put that on, every law enforcement officer, you never know what you're going into. After 9/11, I was called back for service after going in the initial rush in Afghanistan. We took care of business there, and I was back in the Middle East. And I got a call and said, come back to D.C. And I'm like, why am I coming back here? And next thing I know, Lieutenant calls me and basically said, we're in trouble. You and I both know you're downrange, but the only guy we have is the guy you shot in his male organs 3 weeks ago. He was still alive. Don't worry, we had some good EMTs. We fixed him up where we could help him out in another way. That was the first fellow we got, so I went back to D.C., walked in to see the President of the United States, and I'll be honest, I'm just a guy from Louisiana who was, did my job for a few years, and I always thought these Washington, D.C. people were so smart, geniuses. In fact, I tell a couple of my officers, as you tell a speech, I call it the Wizard of Oz speech, because when you get there, suddenly you're like, this is it? I thought you were these geniuses who were going to do all this. And you're asking me, a guy from Louisiana? I said, we're in trouble. And I will never forget that tenant walked me in. The president, of course, he knew my name, knew I was from Louisiana, et cetera, and knew a couple of things that I got lucky on, shot, blown up, whatever. And I'm looking at him, and tenant's known me for a while. I deal with Kings and all of this. So I looked out the window. It was early snow. It was early snow, and they wanted me to talk to him about something and brief him. And I looked out that window at the White House, and I hesitated. And tenant had known me long enough to know that I'm normally not very intimidated. And I kind of looked out the window, and I left. Then I looked back at the president, talked with him and Cheney, Condi. And later we walked outside, and George Tenet asked me, he says, man, for a minute I thought you froze. Some people freeze, but now, you kind of looked out the window, you got this look on your face, and then you locked on and started talking. I said, well, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking 30 years ago, I was sitting on a sand dune as a special forces guy, right after the Iranians had taken our hostages, and I was thinking, man, those geniuses in Washington are gonna go get them. We're gonna tear stuff up. And I said, I just had a flashback of 30 years ago, and these geniuses, and they're looking at me like, give us the answer. I think we're in big trouble. So we led that campaign, and I want to assure each and every one of you, from New York especially, justice was served. Justice was served over and over again. And each time we had a chance to let them know before they went on to meet Allah, we let them know why they were going to meet Allah. And we would mention New York. We would mention 9/11 if we had a chance. Most of the time, sometimes they didn't get that chance. But the bottom line is, I want you to know that you were well served, you are well served. We are family. I could go on forever with these adventures, but I won't, because it's about you today, it's about you. But the mayor said something that I will just repeat. It's about unity. We must put away this violence and talk from the left and the right. We must have dialogue, civil, respectful dialogue. That's what America's built on. Because when it comes, and last but not least, every day you put that on, every day you go in a firehouse, just like when we used to serve, I never asked, is this Republican or is this Democrat? This is America. This is America. And for you, you never ask, am I going to go in this house that's on fire? What flag do they have outside? Are they Republican? Are they Democrat? No. You put that on and you walk into fire to save Palm Beach County residents, to save Americans, and I thank you. Thank you very much.
Marty, I have nothing to say after that except God bless America.
September 11th was a day that changed America forever. But what it did not do, what it could not do, it did not break our spirit, as you just heard. Americans everywhere and first responders have all very different and personal ways to honor the sacrifices made that day. Here locally, firefighters at the West Palm Beach Fire Department host a 9/11 memorial stair climb each year downtown. Firefighters from all over South Florida and New York City gather to don their bunker gear and sometimes even their air packs to climb 110 stories. Their motto, reflect with every step.
So we're at 515 North Flagler. We're climbing 110 for the 110 stories of the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers that fell that day. It all started actually with only 5 guys just coming off their shift, just in remembrance of 9/11. We got guys doing it in full bunker gear.
Which shift? C shift today.
We had police officers that also perished that day, unfortunately. They're in their full kits. We had some service members, military was here.
Suffer a little bit for those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
300 in the stairwell, 350 outside. The overwhelming community presence is amazing.
The stairs aren't always fun.
Come on, everybody.
But like being in there with everyone is just so empowering. So many people come together.
It means a lot to not just me, but my crew here to support, have a remembrance for all the people that lost their lives in 9/11. All the first responders, as well as the civilians that lost their lives.
You have to recognize the families that lost their loved ones. And to be able to honor them by doing this today is really meaningful to me.
It's hot, it's muggy, it's loaded with people. The rails are sweaty. Basically, probably very similar situations to what those firefighters experienced in 9/11.
When they do these stairs, they think about what the guys had to go through.
Remember why you're torturing yourself today.
When they climbed up the stairs on 9/11, so they just experienced that for themselves.
Not knowing what they're going into or knowing what they're going into.
Reflect with every step. 343 firefighters made the ultimate sacrifice.
Seeing that, okay, maybe this is the last time I'm going to step in here, but they did it anyway.
It's a reminder that every time we come to work that this could be the eventuality of what happens when we make the choice to give potentially everything that we have for those that we serve.
I'm honored to do what I do. If it was to happen again, I'm pretty sure nobody will think twice to respond to those calls.
And now we begin the traditional ceremony series for this morning. For first responders and public servants everywhere, tradition and history are ingrained in the very fabric of the fire service. Our traditional ceremony tonight, we have a live sequence of 4 traditions, but first we're going to explain the history behind each of them, and then you'll see them in live sequence. For the police and law enforcement officers, the timeless ceremonial tradition is known as the 3-round volley. Palm Beach Lakes High School Fire Academy students Mariela Gomez and student Jordan Wooford will come up for that explanation. Second, you will see for firefighters there is another time-honored tradition shared all over the nation. It is called the tolling of the bell. Please welcome Matthew Keeler from the Palm Beach State College paramedic student and Daniel Lusenkas from Palm Beach State College Fire Academy. And on the bell, we have Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Honor Guard, rung by Honor Guard member Kyle Wilhite. Third, for the tradition is known as taps, another tradition honored all around the country to signify the fallen. It began as a military tradition, and for the history behind it, we welcome Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Cadets Ryan Morejong and Yusbeth Varela. Playing taps on the bugle, Honor Guard member George Cardoso. The fourth tradition is Amazing Grace, played, of course, by our wonderful Palm Beach County Firefighter Pipes and Drums Band. So why Amazing Grace? Well, bagpipes have been woven into the very fabric of the American Fire Service, carried here by Irish and Scottish immigrants who filled the ranks of many fire departments in the 1800s. The pipes and drums are fixtures honoring the fallen with a sound that carries both sorrow and strength. Over time, no tune has come to remind us of more than Amazing Grace. Its mournful melody transforms grief into reverence. It reminds us all that while a first responder's watch may end, their eternal spirit of courage, service, and sacrifice lives on in all of these, in all of us. This traditional ceremony tonight will honor Mr. Marty Martin out there. This is a thank you for you, sir. We'll begin with the history behind it all.
The tradition of the three-round volley gun salute began in the 14th century as firearms and cannons came into use in battle. Since the early rifles or cannons contained only one projectile, discharging only one time, they were rendered ineffective until the weapon could be reloaded. The tradition of the three-round volley dates back to the European Destiny Wars in the 1600s and 1700s. During a war, a ceasefire would be called to allow each side to remove the dead and injured from the battlefield. After the dead and injured had been retrieved and properly cared for, each side would then the war fire 3 volleys.
Today's tradition continues to honor fallen service personnel and first responders at funerals. The 3 individual volleys fired from the rifle represent 3 separate things: 1 bullet for duty, 1 bullet for honor, and last bullet for country. Soon the 3-round volley will be performed by Palm Beach Gardens Police Department, Jupiter Police Department, and the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in front of the 911 Memorial.
Long before the internet was invented or radios or smartphones were used, fire departments across our great nation used the telegraph to communicate. Back then, the telegraph used special codes to receive fire alarms from the famous old-fashioned red fire alarm boxes. The alarm would signal the call to duty for firefighters to respond to a call for help. Sadly, the alarm would also be used to signify that a firefighter had been killed in the line of duty. For this, the fire alarm office would tap out a special signal. This would be tapped out as 5 measured dashes, then a pause, and then 5 more dashes, another pause, and then 5 more dashes.
This was broadcast over all circuits and heard outside on the streets, and then came to be known as tolling of the bell. This symbolism has been a time-honored fire service tradition for more than 200 years. Today, the tolling of the bell is a sign of honor and respect for all firefighters who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their communities, such as those who perished on 9/11. Each year, on the anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the bell rings in New York City, along with reading of each name of nearly 3,000 people who died from this act of hate. Today, we ring the bell to honor the memories of all those who didn't come home that day.
Taps, or the National Song of Remembrance, is a distinctive bugle melody known across the country as the music of mourning. But it didn't start out that way. In America's Civil War, the tune was first used to signal to soldiers that this was the time for lights out at the end of the day, that it was time to go to sleep. At the time, taps was not used for gravesites. The 3-round volley was used. But it became evident that the gunfire might signal to the enemy to start fighting again.
So the buglers began playing taps
instead of the gunfire. In the 1890s, taps then became a standard component of military funerals, added to the 3-round volley. They are both ways to say final farewell to those who have served their country and their community. A final lights out. Here are all 3 traditions together in sequence, followed by the pipes and drums with Amazing Grace.
Honor guard, on 10, 2. Forward, up. Honor guard, prepare for the 3-round volley. Half right, face. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire.
Thank you, everyone. We would also now like to welcome Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Fire Chief Patrick Kennedy.
Good afternoon. Just before I start, I just want to say thank you to Tara. As a fire chief, a lot of times you have great ideas and you forget about calendars and dates, but tomorrow we have a ceremony that is a little bit in arrears for our people to be recognized. So to know that she took on this ceremony along with tomorrow's ceremony, I want to say thank you, Tara, for all your work. This gets harder and harder. As I look back at a career that started nearly 30 years ago, and knowing that this stamped in the memory, as it's been mentioned already by members of our board, in our mind, I'm kind of just waking up and saying, hey, listen, almost a whole career has gone by since that tragic day. I want to say thank you to Palm Beach State College for graciously opening up your doors always. It's when and where and how can we help you. And I want to say thank you for letting us hold this ceremony here. Our honor guard, pipes and drums, video team, communications team, they constantly demonstrate their commitment, traditions, and pride of the fire service, all the while knowing that there's going to be sheer moments of grief and sorrow, and then there's going to be moments of celebration like tomorrow night. They continue to represent the fire service and public safety with honor. I know there's many individuals who've contributed to the countless hours to make this ceremony memorable, and I thank you for your efforts, and more importantly, your execution to make this a reality. Thank you. Since 2011, one thing that we've noticed in the fire service is a complete reverence and pride in public safety. And that really came on the backs of so many that lost their lives. But we realized, those of us that have been in the fire service that long, that things did change. And I'd like to recognize and mention the unwavering support we receive here in Palm Beach County from our residents to do what we do. Thank you. With that, I know support comes with complete trust. I would like to thank our mayor and our Board of County Commissioners for their continued trust in Palm Beach County Fire Rescue to serve the residents of Palm Beach County. Your considerate and thoughtful decisions ensure our firefighters are equipped and trained to respond to somebody's worst day. Thank you for forgetting history. You have not forgotten. And using your life of service to make our community stronger and safer. Thank you for your support. And I know he doesn't want me to do this, but I'm doing it anyways. Thank you to Administrator Abruzzo and your administrative team, including my boss, Deputy Administrator Tom Nadler, for your leadership and support. And thank you for being our keynote speaker today and bringing Marty Martin. Thank you. Your team has already demonstrated that you are committed to public safety and making us stronger and better as a fire department in Palm Beach County, and I want to thank you for that. In the world of public safety, danger is endless. As we were starkly reminded on 9/11 and as late as yesterday, in this world, hate also has proven to be an endless threat to our society. The events of September 11th, 2001, as we've heard this morning, cannot be limited or summarized to hate, loss, grief, heartbreak, or sheer terror. It cannot be summarized that way. Yet, in remembrance, with grief and sorrow, is a story to be written on our hearts. One of selflessly caring for others, unity, as we've heard, and our collective resolve and strength as a community and nation, committed to freedom and committed to a life of service. A story that, quite frankly, evil and hate cannot comprehend. Our remembrance of the lives lost and the sacrifices made will continue to write the story of triumph and resolve in our community and our nation. Yes, you have already heard those words, and it was written in the message and the proclamation that was presented by the Board of County Commissioners and presented by our Vice Mayor, Baxter. We cannot forget the events of that day on September 11th, 2001, nor can we forget the power of people coming together to support one another and their community. Those actions have inspired many of us, as you've heard today, and reminded all of us when despair and sadness is overwhelming, there is also hope, which leads to action and response. May God bless our military and our first responders while keeping them vigilant and ready for the next call to service. Thank you for attending this event today.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everyone. We close tonight with a lovely rendition of God Bless America, performed by some of our first responders here at Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. So be safe today. Here is the synthesis of sounds.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies to the ocean. Why we're for God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Please stand, everyone, for the retirement of colors.
And all uniformed personnel, attend pool. Carry on. Pipe major, by all command. guard only. Present arms. Order arms. Prepare to retrieve. Retrieve. Ready. Pace. Bang. Got on the break.